you mentioned in the book, which we'll obviously dig into in a few, losing everything, not only the business, but also going bankrupt, and um, it also led to a divorce. Like just talk about, I guess, that trickle down effect. Like,
So the business at some point, so my husband at the time, we started the business together, right? And I always like to say, not that I like to say, it's the truth. Like to me, the company, I was always kind of like the head and the heart of the school, and my husband was what I call the soul because he was really the design person. He was the person who when you walked into the center, the way it looked and sounded and smelled and everything that you felt when you walked in there, that was his. That came from him. He's an artist. And the space looked like something between like a children's museum or like a child's, dream bedroom, right? Like it was an incredible space. And that was all him. The music that we played, the art on the wall, every sort of event, like that was all him. And I handled, all of the administrative and all of the teachers and the marketing and all of the business end. And he handled all of like the soulful end, I like to say.
mhm.
And so we were very, very, very close partners in the business and the things that we did. So when all of that came, and don't forget that like we had already ran the first two for like 11, 12 years when we sold, and then we took kind of like a brief sabbatical for like a year before we opened up the next two. So there was a lot of stress there, and there was like a lot riding on what was going to happen with the next two, and that was supposed to be kind of like our legacy. And when everything kind of crashed and burned and fell apart by this lawsuit, it took a toll on us because I was busy sort of like just trying to survive and trying to save the business, that there were many, many things that were happening, where I sort of neglected, well, we both neglected each other and like did not have any time to spend with each other. And that started trickling down from there. I just put up my author page. It's just KettiaMing.com.
pushplaypods.com.